Martin Luther, a name synonymous with revolution, shook the foundations of the Catholic Church and changed the course of Western history. He dared to challenge the status quo, sparking a movement that redefined the relationship between God and humanity. His weapon? The power of ideas. His battleground? The printing press and the pulpit. Luther's 95 Theses, nailed to the church door in Wittenberg, ignited a firestorm of debate and dissent that would forever alter the religious landscape of Europe. The Protestant Reformation, as it came to be known, was born. Luther's message of salvation through grace alone resonated with the masses. From humble beginnings, Luther's ideas spread like wildfire, igniting a movement that continues to shape our world today. Today, we can retrace Luther's steps, embarking on a pilgrimage through the towns that witnessed his life's work and legacy. Eisleben, his birthplace and the place where he drew his final breath, offers a glimpse into the beginning and end of his extraordinary journey. Wittenberg, on the other hand, was the heart of Luther's Reformation. The castle church, where he famously nailed his theses, stands as a monument to his audacity. Join us as we step back in time, immersing ourselves in the world of Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation. Eisleben, a quaint town steeped in history, holds the unique distinction of being both the cradle and the grave of Martin Luther. Our journey begins at Luther's birthplace, a humble abode that has been meticulously preserved as a museum. Stepping inside is like stepping back in time. Across town stands another significant landmark, the Luther House, where the great reformer breathed his last. The house, now a museum, offers a glimpse into the final days of a man who had shaken the foundations of Christianity. We see his writing desk, worn smooth by countless hours of study and debate. The Luther House in Eisleben is more than just a museum. It's a shrine to the enduring legacy of a man who changed the course of history. As we stand in the very room where he died, we can't help but feel the weight of history upon us. Martin Luther's journey began in a world steeped in religious tradition, where the Catholic Church held sway over every aspect of life. Born into a family of miners in Eisleben, young Martin's destiny seemed preordained. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Luther's father, Hans, had grand ambitions for his son. Instead of a life in the mines, Hans envisioned a career in law for young Martin. Driven by his father's aspirations, Luther excelled in his studies. Yet, despite his academic success, a sense of spiritual unease gnawed at him. While studying law at the University of Erfurt, a life-altering event occurred, one that would forever change the trajectory of his life. In 1505, while traveling back to university after a visit home, Luther was caught in a violent thunderstorm. Fearing for his life, he cried out to St. Anne, vowing to become a monk if he survived the storm's fury. The storm subsided, and true to his word, Luther abandoned his law studies and entered the Augustinian monastery in Erfurt. Life in the monastery was austere, marked by prayer, fasting, and rigorous theological study. Luther threw himself into his monastic duties, seeking solace and certainty in the rigid structures of religious life. Despite his devotion, Luther struggled with a deep sense of spiritual inadequacy. His studies of the Bible, particularly the writings of St. Paul, only deepened his anxieties. His superiors, recognizing his intelligence and theological acumen, sent him to the University of Wittenberg to continue his studies. It was in the hallowed halls of this university town that Luther's theological ideas began to crystallize. Leaving Eisleben, we journey to Wittenberg, a town forever entwined with Luther and the Protestant Reformation. Unlike Eisleben, which witnessed the beginning and end of Luther's life, Wittenberg was the crucible where his revolutionary ideas were forged. Today, Wittenberg is a place of pilgrimage for Lutherans and history enthusiasts alike. Our exploration of Wittenberg begins at the heart of the Reformation, the Castle Church. It was here, on October the 31st, 1517, that Luther nailed his famous 95 Theses to the church door. The Castle Church, once a place of pilgrimage for those seeking indulgences, became a beacon of reform. As we stand before its massive wooden doors, now adorned with bronze replicas of the 95 Theses, we can almost hear the echoes of Luther's hammer blows. Luther's 95 Theses were not intended to be a revolutionary manifesto. They were meant as points of debate for an academic disputation. However, his carefully crafted arguments, written in Latin and posted on the church door, ignited a firestorm far beyond Luther's wildest imagination. The 95 Theses, quickly translated into German and disseminated through the newly invented printing press, spread like wildfire throughout the Holy Roman Empire. Luther's message, challenging the Church's authority and emphasizing salvation through faith alone, resonated with people from all walks of life. The ensuing conflict, fueled by theological debate, political intrigue, and the fervor of popular support, escalated into a full-blown religious revolution, the Protestant Reformation. The posting of the 95 Theses at the Castle Church in Wittenberg marked a turning point in history. A short walk from the Castle Church brings us to another significant landmark in Luther's life, the Luther House. This former Augustinian monastery, where Luther resided after his excommunication from the Catholic Church, offers a fascinating glimpse into the Reformer's personal and professional life. It was within these walls that Luther translated the Bible into German, wrote his seminal theological treatises, and nurtured the fledgling Protestant movement. The Luther House, now a museum, has been meticulously preserved, allowing us to step back in time and experience the world as Luther would have known it. We can visit his study, where he labored tirelessly over his writings, his desk still cluttered with books and papers as if he had just stepped away. The Luther House is more than just a museum. It is a testament to the power of ideas to change the world. Our journey through Wittenberg continues at the town church, another important site in Luther's life. It was from this pulpit that he preached his revolutionary sermons, captivating audiences with his fiery rhetoric. Luther's sermons, delivered in plain German rather than the traditional Latin, resonated with people from all walks of life. The town church, with its soaring Gothic arches and stained glass windows, still echoes with the spirit of Luther's message. As we sit in the pews, imagining Luther thundering from the pulpit, we are reminded that the Reformation was not just a theological debate, it was a movement fueled by passion and conviction. The echoes of Luther's Reformation extend far beyond the walls of Wittenberg's churches and museums. Our journey began in Eisleben, where we walked in the footsteps of a young Martin Luther, a miner's son touched by destiny. We saw the humble home where he was born and the house where he died, bookending a life that shook the foundations of Christianity. But it was in Wittenberg that Luther's revolutionary ideas truly took flight, transforming him from a humble monk into a towering figure of religious reform. The distance between Eisleben and Wittenberg is short, a mere 100 kilometers, yet it represents a world of change in Luther's life. From the printing presses of Wittenberg, Luther's ideas spread like wildfire, igniting a movement that would reshape the religious landscape of Europe and beyond. The Reformation was not merely a religious movement. It was a cultural, social, and political earthquake that reverberated throughout Europe and beyond. As we stand before the imposing doors of the Castle Church in Wittenberg, we are reminded of Luther's courage and conviction. It took tremendous bravery to challenge the might of the Catholic Church, an institution that had held sway over Europe for centuries. Luther's legacy is complex and multifaceted. The Reformation, sparked by Luther's challenge, led to the emergence of Protestantism, a major branch of Christianity that encompasses a wide range of denominations. Today, there are over 800 million Protestants worldwide, a testament to the enduring impact of Luther's ideas. His emphasis on individual conscience, his translation of the Bible into the vernacular, and his challenge to established authority helped pave the way for the Enlightenment, the scientific revolution, and the rise of democracy. The Reformation's impact on Western civilization is undeniable. It led to greater religious freedom, fostered intellectual inquiry, and challenged traditional hierarchies. Luther's emphasis on education, his belief in the priesthood of all believers, and his promotion of literacy had a profound impact on the development of Western culture. Today, the Luther memorials in Eisleben and Wittenberg stand as powerful reminders of the transformative power of ideas. They invite us to reflect on the courage it takes to challenge the status quo, the importance of individual conscience, and the enduring legacy of a movement that reshaped the Western world. But the story of Luther and the Reformation is not just a story of the past. It's a story that continues to unfold in our own time. As we grapple with issues of religious freedom, individual rights, and the role of faith in the modern world, Luther's legacy serves as both an inspiration and a cautionary tale. We invite you to visit Eisleben and Wittenberg to walk in the footsteps of Martin Luther and to experience firsthand the power of his ideas. As we conclude our journey through the Luther memorials, we're left with a sense of awe. Awe at one man's convictions reshaping Europe's religious and intellectual landscape. Luther's story reminds us that the human spirit yearns for authenticity and a direct connection with the divine. The Reformation empowered individuals, breaking down barriers that confined Scripture to the elite. Luther's translation of the Bible into German was revolutionary, allowing ordinary people to engage with the Word of God directly. This democratization of knowledge extended beyond religion, coinciding with the rise of the printing press. Luther used the printed word to spread his ideas, engage in debate, and build a movement. Visiting the Luther memorials in Eisleben and Wittenberg is more than just a history lesson. It's a pilgrimage of sorts. It's a chance to walk in the footsteps of a man who dared to challenge the status quo, to stand up for his beliefs, and to change the world. It's an opportunity to reflect on our own beliefs, our own values, and the role of faith in our lives. Start in Eisleben, where you can stand in the very room where Luther was born, a tangible reminder of his humble beginnings. Imagine the young Martin growing up in this small town, surrounded by the piety and traditions of his time. Visit the house where he died and reflect on the legacy he left behind, a legacy that continues to shape our world today. Then, journey to Wittenberg, the heart of the Reformation. Stand before the imposing doors of the castle church, where Luther nailed his 95 theses, and feel the weight of history wash over you. Visit the Luther house, where he lived, worked, and raised his family, and imagine the passion and conviction that fueled his writing. Attend a service at the town church, where Luther preached his fiery sermons, and let the echoes of his words resonate within you. The world we live in today, shaped by religious freedom and individual liberty, owes a great debt to Martin Luther and the Reformation. Luther's challenge to the Catholic Church paved the way for the separation of church and state. His emphasis on individual conscience laid the groundwork for the Enlightenment and humanism. Yet, Luther's legacy is complex and contradictory. Some of his views, particularly about Jews, are abhorrent by modern standards. It's essential to approach his story critically, acknowledging both positive and negative aspects. Luther's story offers both inspiration and caution for today's challenges. It reminds us that progress often requires challenging the status quo. reflect on how we can learn from Luther's courage and conviction.